Hey everyone, it's Intel here, and today I'm making a video about strafing. And before I get too into the video, I do want to say quickly beforehand, I have a Twitter, and I don't think a lot of people know about that because I only have 100 followers, and I do post regularly on my Twitter, so I just wanted to sort of plug it. I usually don't plug stuff like that in my videos. I would appreciate it if you guys followed me, if you do use Twitter. If you don't, then don't worry about it, it's fine, but I do post some updates every now and then, so yeah. Quick shout out to Velt, by the way, because they hooked me up with YouTube rank on here, which is pretty chill. But yeah, with that being said, let's get right into the video. All right, when playing against someone, it's really easy to get in the habit of just holding W and not really utilizing any of your movement keys because the game's easy that way. And I've fallen victim to this myself, just straight lining people. But the thing is, when you just straight line someone, right, you're also making the game much easier for them because they don't have to adjust their aim that much to hit you. So inevitably, you're just making it sort of harder on yourself in a fight if you're not utilizing your A and D key to try and avoid attacks. And that's the whole concept with strafing. You're just trying to utilize your movement keys so that you can escape their attacks and get free hits on them. I'll generally see in a lot of strafing tutorials, they'll cover circle strafing, and all that is just holding one movement key in a direction and just going in a circle and hitting them like that. And if you're fighting someone who's a really body player who doesn't know how to track in one direction, then yeah, you're gonna do good against them. But I generally don't think that just circle strafing and moving in one direction the whole time is a good idea. And the reason for that is because you're making your movement very predictable with that way. If anyone knows anything about tracking, then they're not gonna have too much of a hard time aiming you when you're just moving in one direction the whole time. So the best way to strafe, on my opinion, is you wanna have your movements as random as possible, and you wanna try to be unpredictable. So just going into a fight, just not in necessarily any sort of pattern, you just want to try to make it so that you're unpredictable, so it's harder for them to lock their aim on you. And if you just keep that in mind, just having a random unpredictable movement when fighting someone, you'll see that you'll do generally a lot better than just holding W the whole time. Another rule of thumb that you can use when strafing is just generally try to strafe in the direction that your opponent isn't looking at. So be sort of conscious of the head of your player and try to go in a way that they aren't looking at you. So if you just try to avoid their line of sight, then you can generally just get a lot more free hits on the other player. But yeah guys, that's really all there is when it comes to strafing. It's not a hard concept to really master, and I see a lot of videos where they'll go over specific strafes, like certain patterns and stuff, and tell you that those are the best ways to strafe, and I really disagree with that. The best way is just being random and trying to avoid the attacks of the other player. So just focus on that. Focus on utilizing your A and D key a lot when you fight, and you'll see that in general you'll do a lot better than just holding W and straight lining people the whole time. So now I'm gonna get into a few clips where I really just try to demonstrate what I explain and utilize my movement keys and strafe to avoid people's attacks. So yeah, let's get to it. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys an easy way you can improve your aim, and that is by overclocking your monitor's refresh rate. So that may sound intimidating. I know the word overclock intimidates a lot of people, but trust me, this is a lot different than the overclocking you might hear about CPUs or GPUs, and this is really, really easy and harmless. So basically, if your monitor is at 60 Hz, if it has a 60 Hz refresh rate, you can usually increase that to something higher. And why this affects the aim is because the higher refresh rate that you have, it makes it so much much easier to aim. So I remember when I first upgraded to 144 hertz, and it just made aiming so much easier. Playing on a higher refresh rate, trust me, makes it a lot easier to aim. So you can do this on a laptop, a desktop, whatever. If your display is 60 hertz, the only requirement you have to have is a dedicated GPU. So what I mean by that is you have to have an NVIDIA or AMD graphics card. So the method I'm going to be showing you is if you have an NVIDIA one, which will be the graphics card that most people have. You still can do it on AMD, it's just a different way. You have to look it up, but basically what you want to do is right click on your desktop and click NVIDIA control panel right here and wait for this to pop up. From here you want to click on a change resolution under the display tab, and you will be brought to this page right here. So for the sake of this video, pretend that my monitor was 60 hertz. It would say 60 hertz right here. What you want to do is you want to find your resolution. So for me that's 1920 by 1080, and you want to click on customize. You want to make sure that this box right here is enabled, and then you want to click on create custom resolution. So once you're here, if you have a 60 hertz panel, this will say right here, it will say 60. What you want to do is you want to raise this number in increments of 5. So if you're on 60, raise it to 65 and click on test. Now I'm not going to do this because if I do that, it'll mess up my OBS recording. But when you click on test, it's basically going to test your monitor to see if a higher refresh rate works for it. After you hit test and everything looks good, you can hit OK and apply. And basically you just want to keep on repeating that process. Just increase it by increments in 5. So from 65 go to 70, then go to 75 if you can, and just do it until your refresh rate caps out. So if your monitor isn't able to support a higher refresh rate, what will happen is when you click on test, your monitor will just go black and you won't be able to see anything. However, don't worry about that, because what will happen is after 15 seconds, if you don't do anything, your refresh rate will automatically revert to what you had earlier. So if your screen goes black, just don't worry, just wait a bit and it will automatically revert. Also, if you click on test and you can see your screen, however, if you see artifacts, and what I mean by artifacts is if you see lines running across your display, you're not in full screen, or there's any glitchiness that's going on, if there's anything that doesn't look normal, you probably don't want to keep running at that refresh rate and you want to lower it a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this process. It's different per display, so some displays like to overclock a lot, some don't really overclock that much, but if you can overclock it just by a bit, it really does help. It makes your game feel way smoother. It lets you have much better aim, on my opinion. Before I upgraded to 144 hertz, I had a 60 hertz display, and using this method I overclocked it to 80 hertz, and it made aiming so much easier, and that's why I want to share this with you guys today. But yeah, that's pretty much it.